The significance of the study is usually 150 to 300 words for undergraduate theses. For master's or PhD level, it can be 300 to 500 words. It is included in Chapter 1, Introduction. It normally comes after the problem statement, research questions, and objectives. What does significance of the study mean? The significance of the study is the part of your thesis that shows the real value of your research. It is more than just explaining the topic. You are telling the reader why this study matters, who it helps, and how it makes a difference. It highlights the impact of your work, on people, on knowledge, and on practice. It explains the practical benefits, such as solving a problem, improving processes, or guiding decisions. It also points out the academic contribution, like filling gaps in research, introducing new ideas, or supporting future studies. In simple terms, this section answers, why should anyone care about this research? Who will gain from its results? What changes or improvements could it bring? Think of it as your research's value statement. It is your chance to showcase the importance of your work, convince readers of its relevance, and highlight why your study is unique, meaningful, and timely. It transforms your thesis from just another study into a piece of work that matters. What to consider while writing significance of the study. First, ask, what are the implications of my study? This is about the results and impact. For example, this thesis states that incorporating the nursing process in patient care improves hospital nursing. This enables nurses to enhance professionalism and achieve better patient outcomes. So the implication is that the study guides hospital administration in improving care quality. Next, consider, why is it important to carry out this research? This shows the necessity of your work. Here, research identifies barriers nurses face, like excessive workload or limited decision-making. Explaining these barriers makes the study important because it highlights areas needing improvement. Then, how does my study influence policymaking? The study gives hospital managers data to make informed decisions, like adjusting staff responsibilities or improving support systems. Ask also, how is my study related to existing knowledge? Here, you compare your results with what is already known. This study confirms earlier findings that barriers like workload affect nurses, but it also shows unique facilitators, like using hospital information management systems. Another question, what benefits does my study have for others? In this example, nurse educators can update curricula, improving future nursing education. Hospital administrators can optimize patient care. Also ask, what new perspectives does my study add? The research shows that using the nursing process boosts nurses' social image and autonomy, something not fully discussed in previous studies. Finally, how would my study contribute to bridging research gaps or changing current practices? The study identifies barriers and facilitators in public hospitals, which can guide practical solutions. If addressed, these improvements can raise the quality of care, improve nurses' roles, and influence hospital policy. By answering these questions clearly, your significance of the study becomes strong, practical, and convincing. You can write the significance of the study by following these simple steps. Step 1. Problem statement and research gaps. Include the problem statement and clearly show the gaps in current research. Explain which areas have little or no information. Specify what is missing or unclear in previous studies. Step 2. Contribution to knowledge. Include how your study adds new information or understanding. Mention the theories, concepts, or methods your research addresses or improves. Step 3. Contribution to industry or field. Include the practical benefits for the industry or field. Specify how your study helps professionals, organizations, or practices improve performance, efficiency, or quality. Step 4. Contribution to government or society. Include how your research helps the government, policymakers, or the public. Mention if it can guide policies, frameworks, regulations, or public behavior. Step 5. Beneficiaries. Include the groups or individuals who will benefit from your study. This could be students, educators, professionals, organizations, or society. Step 6. Unique findings. Include the unique points or results your research provides that were not previously discussed. Show why your study is different or original. Step 7. Support assertions with evidence. Whenever you make a claim about why your study matters, back it up with citations from journal articles, books, or published research. Don't just say your research is important, show proof by referring to credible sources. Use statements like, according to author, year. Research shows that. Author, year, this means you should quote or paraphrase studies that support your points. For example, if you say a topic is under-researched, cite a journal article that highlights this gap. If you claim that your approach is valuable, cite studies showing similar methods were useful. Now I will guide you on how to write the significance of the study. When you write this section in your thesis, you should already have identified the gap your study addresses. If you are still unsure how to find a research gap, watch the video above to learn the steps for identifying research gap. First, search the topic title on Google, such as Impact of Sleep Quality on Glycemic Control in Middle-Aged Adults with Type 2 Diabetes, using Google Scholar. Open the first 2 articles that you think are relevant to the topic. These are the 2 articles you will use, then go to ChatGPT and use this prompt. Include everything that should appear in the significance section, such as background context and research gap. Clearly state your research gap, for example, the specific role of sleep quality on glycemic control remains underexplored. Also ask it to include other elements such as benefits of the study and implications. After that, go back to the articles. First, copy the introduction section. Then copy the discussion section. Paste both sections under your ChatGPT prompt. Do the same for the second article. This step is important because it helps provide evidence to support your claims. Then click Send, and ChatGPT will generate a significance section for you. It first writes the context and background with a gap, such as noting that few studies focus on middle-aged adults who face unique metabolic risks, and that investigating sleep patterns in this group can fill a critical knowledge gap. Then it writes the contributions, such as how the findings can guide clinicians and researchers in designing interventions that improve sleep to support diabetes care. You can edit the prompt to improve it by asking to add more elements like policymaking, industries, or specific professional fields. Then write "Do not use headings" and click again. Now it will generate a more specific significance section. You must always adjust the content according to your own study. For example, it mentions a country like Iran, change it to match your research setting. The second paragraph discusses implications for public health policies, clinical management, and patient education. It also mentions benefits for industries such as occupational health and shift work management. It uses evidence statements like evidence indicates that modifiable lifestyle factors. However, you must also include proper citations. Use the citations from the 2 articles that you pasted earlier under the ChatGPT prompt. You can see the video above to learn more about how to give references properly.